Welcome to Defotech TV on YouTube.
Okay, hello, good afternoon. You're welcome to another edition of our online class. And today I want to talk about the topic that has to do with energizers and earth terminal. Energizers and earth terminals. All right. Okay. The main purpose why we have to discuss this today is because the last time I was actually in my last visit to Ghana, I heard somebody who was talking about it. He said from the manufacturers of Energizer, one of them, because in the market present, especially in the Nigerian market, we have brands that are common. I think number one is right in our market here. The most common brand is the Nemtek, and that can either be the Wizard, the Merlin, the Stealth, or the Druid. Now, he talked about, I think one of the vendors of the JVA in Ghana, who talked about him opening, not looping the Energizer terminals. Like he was talking about, he said that they asked him to always make sure you have, instead of for the Nemtek, we understand that there are three terminals. We always use three cables from the Nemtek Energizer, because the Nemtek Energizer most times it comes pre-looped with the the earth out and the earth return looped under. So the terminals left is just a live out, live return. Then to take one from the earth. Now he was talking about the JVA in Energizer that the vendor advised him not to loop the earth terminal. And they said that that's the right way. And I said, well, for both they might be correct, they're correct. But there are reasons why sometimes, even for the Nemtek, you can also go with 4 cables, right? You're having your live out, your live return, the earth out, and the earth return. So if you're having these 4 cables, what are scenarios where you decide to use them? I think to a large extent, the number of lines will actually determine if you need to take maybe your live and your earth, take both of them out, both the out and the return for the live and the earth. Now, let's take example of, let's take a look at this. Let's take a look at this example I want to illustrate now. Let's assume you're having a 4 lines electric fence, right? And you're asked to configure your electric fence, okay? Okay, let's assume we have our intermediate poles also. And we asked to configure these 4 lines Energizer. Something comes to your mind to say, okay, let's assume we take the first one as the live. I'll take the second, let's say, for example, to say we use this as live. So we're not having live air, or we have live here. Let's say live. I am assuming, please. I know what I want to use here, because these are the scenarios where I said most times you need to understand how this thing works. So if I decide to say, let me have a live here, and have an earth here, and have a live here, you will see to a large extent, if your live in comes from this, it gets here, and you take it to line 2. Let's assume this is another live. For example, this should now say this is earth and this is live. By the time this gets to this, it moves all the way here, it goes to this live. So the return is not coming to the position where you have your Energizer. So there's problem. This, I would not buy into this configuration. Now, let me try something else. Let's now assume we say, okay, let's have live earth. Okay, I decide to now have the live earth. All right. So if you have this configuration, if this live move from here, and marries the next life, fine, we can say, okay, it gets to the energizer. It means if we take the single line, and loop this, and connect the earth, it comes all the way to this. And we are now using a pre-looped energizer. For example, the Nemtek, that is Nemtek configuration, I have it pre-looped, the energizer. So it means if we're having just the three, let's say this live out, this is live return. All right. Let's assume this is a live return and this is F. This is F. It's been pre-looped from your energizer. So it means, fine, you have this, but there's a high tendency because this last line is not totally secured. Why did I say it's not secured? Because it's the F. If anybody comes here, cut off this line, take this one out, and remove this line, for example, it means there's a wider space here for intruder to actually go in to say, okay, fine, I'm not going to touch the live. I've cut this. I have enough space because this one is out, this is out. So because if he tries to cut this one, the third line, which is the live, because the energizer will sense this. But this, if they cut this one, the energizer will not sense it because already is tapping from this guy. So what I'm going to do here, if you have this scenario, it means by the time this guy remove the lines, either from the bottom, it means the circuit you've exposed this part is kind of wide enough. But where the idea of using 4 cables comes into play has to do with this. Okay, let's try another configuration first. Let's try another before I come up with the let's try another solution, another one before I try giving out the solution to this. Why you must understand scenarios where you might need to use four cables from the energizer to power your fence instead of the most times the regular 3 we always use. All right, so let's assume I'll tell you that now try as much as possible not to use the 4 line, use the 3. So let's assume this. Let's configure, use this, because most times we won't always secure the top and the bottom, right? If we decide to say, okay, let's make the first line and the last line, I have F here. To a large extent, I feel if these middle ones are broken, it's not as secured because we're looking for the right way to properly secure this perimeter. So if I have this and this, let's say, okay, we'll say the top and the bottom is secured. But if this line is removed, the F, because it's a three line system, 3 cable system, and we've looped this one here, okay, this to this. So if this middle one maybe cut off, if it's totally removed, and they decide to remove all the lines, this alarm to a large extent would not go off. It won't go off because the energizer is still sensing signal from here. So what's the best way to configure this? Let's take a look at this. What we'll be having next. So let's assume we have our 4 lines back, right? We're having our 4 lines back. Okay, the best way I always say configure this, where you need to take your 4 cables out, is this. Now, this is the live, this is the F. Let's assume this is the live, and this is the F. Okay, fine, we're having the F at the bottom. I can also reconfigure it a different way, having the F at the middle, the live, the F, and the live. Okay, I can say that might even be the best configuration, having the live at both extremes, the top and the bottom, so that somebody tries tampering with this one, the alarm go off. And from the middle, if he tries to touch the middle or maybe push it aside, the alarm will also go off. So at the middle here, our advice, we have our F and our F. So we have live, F, F, live. So this is where the 4 cable connections will be very ideal for us here. So what I need to do from the energizer, instead of having just 3 cables, the live out and the live return, I will now make sure I take all of them. Any of the terminal for like the Nemtek energizer that is pre-looped, I'll need to remove the jumper, that looped cable on that, remove it, that the cable used to loop the energizer, I'll take it out. So it means I'm taking from live, let's say live out, this is live out, this gets here, come all the way from here, it marries to the next available live, which is this, and it returns to live return back to the energizer. Then we also need to take the F out. This is F out, and when it gets here, this guy marries this, returns all the way to the energizer as a F return. So by the time we have this, it means irrespective of this line that anybody tries to cut, to break, to try to, the alarm, it will send a signal to the energizer that there's an intrusion somewhere. So this is more secured. You having it this way, so you cannot take the 4 cables from the energizer, the live out goes all the way for the 4 lines and returns to the last line, and the earth goes from the middle, maybe the 3rd lines, 2nd, and return from to the 3rd one. So with this, any of these lines, if they are broken, because by the time the energizer senses it's sending out pulse, because that's the principle which your energizer operates. It sends out a pulse, the return takes it back to say, yes, I've received. It is when the return is not getting the output from the live, or when there's an alteration from the power being sent out, it's not coming back to the energizer, so it senses it as a fault. So with this configuration we have here, if this goes all the way, so immediately they start coming to the energizer, sense it, yes, it returns, okay, I've sent, let's assume, okay, I've sent 5, return 5 to me, you return the 5. If the energizer notice that I sent 5, and that's what triggers an alarm most times, send something and it's not getting it back, then the alarm go off. So same applies with the earth. So if it's sending also through the earth and it's not returning, the alarm will go off immediately. So it means there's an intrusion. Let's also, there's also another kind of line that I also want us to talk about. I think the 10 lines is also part of this. Let's assume we have a 10 line configuration. I will always advise you use what's the name, the out and return for the earth. Let's say this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's assume this is a 10 lines configuration. Right? Okay. Let's see the best you can configure this. Let's say if we take our live to 1, okay, let's say we have it as a live earth, let's say live earth, live earth, live earth, live earth, live earth. Will that work? No, I want to have my live at the bottom and the top. So let's first feed this, so we get our earth at the middle. So here we can be looking at using 2 or 4 earth. Let's say this is live and this is live, and I use earth here. This is live, and I use earth here. This is live, and I use earth here. This would not work also. This would not work. I'm showing you how to configure. This would not live, earth, live. No. Okay, can we bring the principle of the 6 and the 8 lines here? Let's give a shot for the 6 and the 8 lines. Okay, let's try the 6 lines. For the 6 lines, we have live, we have earth, live, earth, live, earth, live. Good. So now, but we're having earth in 3 positions. Okay, we're having earth here, earth here, earth here. I can also decide to say, oh, I don't like this. Can I get 4 live. This is 3. I don't like the even number. Not fine, it might work this way, but we won't have the 4 cable system. I'm looking at the way we get the 4 cable system configuration. Let's assume, okay, fine. We have that. Okay, maybe first 2. Okay, first and the second. And we have live and live. Okay. Okay, sorry. Okay, earth, live, earth, live. How many do we have here? So this is live, earth, live, earth, live, earth, live. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. I like this. I have 4 earth. Then let me see. We have 6 live. So it means if this guy moves all the way, this configuration, I guess this will work. This is a very good one. This will work because it's even number. So it means there's a tendency it returns this way. So this guy lives here, goes to the next available live, which is this number. That's number 3. I say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, this means number 3, and this one gets here, means number 4, the next available live. Next available live here is 6. 6 move, next available live is 8. 8, next available live is 10, and it returns to the energizer. Fine, that's great. Then here I can also take 2 earth cable. Let's say the out of the earth comes here, out, this is earth, E, out, L, out, this is L, return, it will have E return. Then this comes here, earth, I look for the next live, which is this. This guy knows all the way it gets here. Next earth, sorry. There's one earth here, I don't skip that. So this guy comes to the next earth, and this guy goes all the way to the next earth. It means it returns. So this is earth returns. So at the end of the day, you can use the 4 cable for the 10 lives configuration. You can have it this way. Have the top of the live and the bottom as the live. So even having this live at the middle is not a problem, but the main thing is you're having your connections all in series. Please take a look at it. You have your connections all in series. That is the main target when you're configuring your fence. And always ensure you have your live at the bottom and live at the top. Not some kind of a, but this is just what I want to explain. So you understand, if you're asked to loop your energizer, to remove the loop from your energizer and take the 4 cables, you want to do that kind of system, something like this is necessary. You understand how you bring that cable and make sure if you have this. So any of these lines that is broken, the alarm will go off immediately. I hope you enjoyed this class. Till we meet again in our next class. Do have a lovely day. Bye for now.
The Food Tech TV.